So welcome back to the Creativity series and today one of part 4. Now, in part 4 we're going to have a look at how you can use potentially difficult and challenging situations to bring about a greater sense of creativity and spontaneity in the mind. Now, we're going to build very much on the visualization exercise that we used in part 3 of the Creativity series, but then add something a little extra to that. I think it can be very tempting to get caught up in a lot of thought when a situation is particularly difficult. But actually, by bringing a little bit of spaciousness to that, actually the most amazing ideas, solutions can come out of it. It's as though moments of genius come from perhaps the most difficult and challenging of times. So rather than seeing those things as an obstacle to creativity, actually we can use them as a vehicle to creativity. But to begin with, we're going to start in the usual way, so just take a moment or two to get comfortable. And when you're ready, begin by taking some nice big deep breaths. And with the next out breath, just gently closing the eyes and taking just a couple of minutes to settle in to the different physical senses. And as you bring the attention back to the body now, just starting to get a sense of how the body's feeling right now. And when you feel ready, starting at the top of the head, just gently scanning down all the way down to the toes. And of course, remembering as you scan down through the body, at the same time to be aware of the emotional tone of mind, the underlying mood that's around for you right now. Not thinking about it, just noticing it. Likewise, be clear about your motivation and the potential impact that sitting down and taking this time out can have for you and for those around you as well. And as always, one last reminder before turning the attention to the breath, that there's really no effort required. Just watching this process unfold, witness to this process. With that in mind, just turning the attention to that rising and falling sensation. And just taking a couple of minutes to rest the mind on that feeling. So still aware of that rising and falling sensation. Remember, when the mind wanders off, simply bringing the attention back again to that feeling. But at the same time, I'd like you to imagine that same pinprick of light that you imagined in part 3 of the Creativity series. That light with the same potential for creativity, spontaneity. And we begin the visualization in exactly the same way. It's as though you just watch as it begins to expand throughout the body, bringing with it a real sense of calm, of clarity, of warmth, and of brightness. Again, there's nothing to do, you're just watching it as it expands throughout the body. Continues out through the limbs, the hands, the feet, and up through the neck and into the head, until the entire body is filled with that brightness. It's simply an awareness, a quiet confidence, sitting with that brightness. And now whatever it is you're looking for in terms of an answer, a solution, an idea, whatever obstacle or difficulty or challenge which appears to be in the way, preventing you from realizing that idea, answer, or solution. Just like you to imagine as though that's being dropped from above. It's as though it just sort of floats down, a bit like the feather all the way back in take 20. It just floats down into that space of brightness and it just dissolves. So the idea of the obstacle, the challenge, sinks down, floats down into that space of clarity. And as it sinks down, as it floats down, it just dissolves, falls away. Now at a logical level, it might not necessarily make a lot of sense. It might not be obvious how this can bring about an answer. But at another level, the mind continues to work and understand this process. So it's about allowing this process to continue. So take about a minute or two just to imagine this obstacle floating down into that space. And then just slowly melting, dissolving, leaving nothing but a sense of spaciousness and brightness in the body. And now just very slowly letting go of any focus, still with that idea of brightness and clarity, now stretching far beyond the body itself. Letting go of any focus, any control, just letting the mind do whatever it wants to do. And just bringing the attention back to the body now, back to those physical points of contact, any sounds, and a greater awareness of the physical senses as you slowly open your eyes again, still aware, still with that sense of calm and clarity, as you just pause, sure of where you're going next, what it is you're going to do, and knowing that you take this sense of spaciousness and creativity with you. And when you've done that, you can just sit back in the chair and have a stretch. Now, it's really important with this particular exercise that you don't try and force a solution or an answer to a specific problem. Although the exercise is designed to bring about a sense of flow in creativity, to unlock any potential kind of blockages or difficulties, it happens in and of itself. You can't make it happen. And the more you try to make it happen, the further away you move from allowing this process to naturally and spontaneously happen. So it's a very gentle, very natural process. And tomorrow, when I come back, I'll tell you just a little bit about how to visualize perhaps a bit more clearly the difficulty or problem, because I think it's not always that obvious. You might be imagining it as something visual. Maybe it's a question. It's more of a sort of an audio track in the mind. There's different ways of visualizing and different ways of imagining it sort of just melting and dissolving in that clarity. But when you do that, as I say, certainly subconsciously the mind continues to work, even if we're not aware, even if we're not fully conscious of this process taking place, there is still something happening underneath. And that is what will lead to that place of creativity.